So first up, I'm going to be making the chapati dough. Now chapati dough is one of the most simple forms of bread. It's just flour and water, and it's a really good one to get the kids involved and get them cooking with you. So I've got 300 grams of wholemeal flour. You can use white flour or gluten-free flour if you have intolerances. Just a pinch of salt and water. What's a good idea? Just take a pinch of flour out of the bowl so that we can dust the surface and knead this when we get round to it. I'm just going to put a pinch of salt into the flour and gradually add the water whilst mixing it around with my hand, and you should see the dough slowly come together. We want this quite a sort of soft workable dough. Okay, now the dough's coming together, just move it around the bowl and pick up any remaining flour. And what we want to do is take the flour we put aside, sprinkle it onto a work surface, and we're going to knead the dough. Now this is the bit that the kids will really love. You can be as rough as you like. You can really push your hands, beat, feel free to throw, anything you like. And we're going to need to knead this dough for about 5 minutes just to get the gluten working through and make the dough nice and elastic. So now we've been kneading the dough for about 5 minutes. It's come together nicely, and we just need to let the dough rest. So I'm going to pop that into a tray, drizzle a bit of oil on top, and cover it in cling film, and we'll leave that to rest whilst we get on with making the dal. Now first up, we're going to take a butternut squash, and we're just going to peel and dice this into centimetre cubes. Okay, and then we'll get a roasting dish. We're just going to pop the squash into the roasting tray, drizzle the squash with a little bit of oil, this just vegetable oil, and then we'll pop the squash in the oven for half an hour to roast. We're using the oven at 180 degrees. Now, if you don't have butternut squash, or you're not that keen on it, sweet potato, aubergine, courgette are really great alternatives and can be prepared and roasted off in a very similar way. Now we're going to take a pan, and we're just going to heat this up slightly with a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And to that pan, we're going to add 1 red onion that I've just sliced, 2 cloves of garlic that have been crushed, and a red chilli. But feel free to add more chilli if you like a hot and spicy dish. Now the onions will take about 2 or 3 minutes to soften up. And as they're softening, you can weigh out your lentils. I have 200 grams of red lentils that have been washed and drained. Okay, now the onion's softened, I'm going to add the lentils to the pan. And we're going to add, at this point, some curry powder. Now I've got a medium curry powder here, but feel free to use a slightly hotter one if you prefer a hotter dish. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of curry powder to the lentils, along with some vegetable stock, just using a cube and 250 mils of water that I've made up, a tin of chopped tomatoes, and a tin of coconut milk. Okay, and then we'll bring this together, and this is going to take about 15 minutes to simmer away and cook the lentils. Great, so now that our dal is on the heat and simmering away, we can return to our chapati dough. The chapati dough is now rested and it's nice and soft. What we need to do is divide this up into 4 balls. So I'm just going to take a knife and cut this into 4, and then take one of these sections, and we just want to roll it out with a rolling pin. We want the chapati to be quite thin. We're talking just under 1/2 centimetre in thickness. Okay, now once we've rolled our chapati out, we're going to heat a frying pan without any oil, so a dry frying pan. Just place it into the dry frying pan. Now this will take about 30 seconds to a minute on each side. And what we're looking for is just a nice bit of colour underneath, and it will start getting these brown dots. Okay, so if you can see there, nice brown dots as the chapati cooks. So here are the chapatis we've now cooked off, and we can set these aside whilst we finish our dal. So I'm just going to return the dal to the heat over here, and I've got a bag of kale. This is a 150 gram bag of kale, and I'm going to add this to the dal, and this will just take a couple of minutes to wilt through. And then our squash that has been in the oven roasting for half an hour should be ready. I'm going to take the squash and just add this to the dal with the kale and turn it through. This will just need a couple more minutes to come together. Okay, now we're all good to dish up. So we're going to take a bowl and serve up a portion of our lovely roast squash, coconut and kale dal. And we can serve our fresh chapatis alongside this. Now it's probably worth mentioning at this point that the dal can be frozen, and as long as it's thoroughly defrosted and reheated, it's good to serve time and time again. And this is a great dish to get the family together, take time away from general life and sit down together.